The run-up to the referendum of June the 23rd has resulted in open warfare or guerrilla warfare, civil war some might say, inside the ruling Tory party, which after it won the elections last May, somewhat unexpectedly, seemed destined to rule peacefully for the next 5 years. But as in the 1990s when John Major was Prime Minister, Europe, or whether Britain should remain in it or not, is tearing the Tory party to pieces. The level of invective and insult is greater than in any recent British electoral campaign, and it is bound to leave traces. If the Prime Minister wins his bet and Britain stays in, or at least that the voters of the United Kingdom decide that the kingdom should stay in, there could well be a bloodbath of his opponents. If the country votes against staying in Europe, then all bets are off. One must point out that at this stage nobody knows how the country will vote. For a very simple reason, polls are often wrong, and they were wrong last May, and nobody has forgotten that. Secondly, when 40 or 60% of electors declare, as they still do today, that they don't know which way they're going to vote, basically it's not quite true. They know, many of them, how they're going to vote, but they're just telling pollsters and their political leaders, we're not interested in your debates, we find them stale, we just want to get on with our lives, we will make up our mind the day of the vote, that's it. So it's a very close thing to call, and there is absolutely no way of knowing in the next 2 weeks what might happen. What is sure is that the referendum campaign has thrown up a divide which you find elsewhere in Europe. It's no longer a divide of right versus left, conservative versus Labour. It is a divide between a younger Britain, a better educated Britain, a more confident Britain, a Britain that travels, which is globalised, if you will, and a Britain which is poorer, much less educated, and which is often white and male. And these lines of fracture are developing right across Europe. They're very visible in France, they're very visible in Italy. So to that extent, the campaign for the referendum will have, in a sense, underlined the need for new politics or for parties to adapt. The question about the vote on the 23rd, as always, it all depends how many people go and vote. Younger people tend to vote less than older people. But here again, we do not know on this occasion whether the younger voters, better educated ones, will be more pushed to go and vote than in the past. And this is the great unknown of the campaign, and indeed of the polling. If the more people vote, the more the likely that there will be a yes to stay in Europe.